The elevator doors slid open on the 23rd floor. And there she was, leaning against the glass wall like she owned the skyline itself. Anne's coffee sloshed over the lid, scalding her fingers. But she barely noticed, her breath catching as if the air had been vacuumed out. Diana's eyes met hers, sharp and unyielding, a smile curling her lips that promised secrets sharper than any boardroom deal. In that instant, Anne knew she was ruined, her pulse hammering a warning she had no intention of heeding. Anne wiped her hand on her jeans, stepping out into the hum of the open-plan office. The scent of fresh paint and ambition thick in the air. New York had a way of chewing people up and spitting them out polished. But today it felt like the city itself was holding its breath. She was 28. Fresh off a breakup that left her apartment echoing with silence. Her marketing coordinator role at Apex Media her only anchor in the chaos. The job paid enough for a shoebox studio in Brooklyn, ramen nights, and dreams deferred to weekends that never materialized. Colleagues buzzed around her desk, keyboards clacking like distant rain. But Anne's gaze kept drifting to the corner office where Diana had just arrived. Diana Hargrove, 35. Transplanted from the sun-bleached sprawl of Los Angeles to shake up the East Coast branch. Rumors swirled before she even landed, a visionary who turned startups into empires. A woman who dated models and moguls. Her laugh said to disarm entire rooms. And had seen the headshot in the company email. But photos lied. In person, Diana was a storm wrapped in silk. Her dark hair falling in precise waves. Her posture commanding without effort. She wore a blazer that hugged her shoulders like it was sewn on. And when she moved, it was with the grace of someone who knew the world bent to her will. And sank into her chair, forcing her eyes to the spreadsheet glowing on her screen. Focus. Pitch the Q4 campaign. But her mind replayed the elevator glance. The way Diana's blue eyes had lingered. Appraising. Inviting. A flush crept up Anne's neck. And she pressed her thighs together under the desk, willing the heat away. It had been months since she'd felt this pull. This reckless gravity toward another woman. Her ex, Sarah, had been safe. Predictable. Their nights dissolving into Netflix and takeout. But Diana. God. Diana looked like she could unravel you with a whisper. The morning dragged. Meetings bleeding into coffee runs. Anne's team lead, Mike, slapped a folder on her desk. Hargrove wants the creatives by noon. She's tearing through the decks like they're kindling. And nodded, her stomach twisting. By 11:45, she was outside the glass walls of the corner office, heart thudding against her ribs. She knocked lightly, and Diana's voice called out, smooth as bourbon. Come in. The room smelled of leather and citrus, sunlight slanting across polished wood. Diana sat at the desk, legs crossed, reviewing printouts with a red pen poised like a weapon. She looked up, and there it was again, that gaze, stripping and bare. You must be Anne. The one with the viral social push last quarter. Her voice held a faint West Coast lilt, warm against the chill of the AC. And swallowed, stepping forward with the folder. Yes, ma'am. I mean, MS. Hargrove. The revisions are here. She set it down, fingers brushing the edge of the desk, close enough to catch the faint trace of Diana's perfume. Jasmine. Maybe. Intoxicating. Diana flipped it open, scanning pages with quick efficiency. Silence stretched, broken only by the scratch of her pen. And shifted. The carpet suddenly too soft under her heels. Sit, Diana said finally, gesturing to the chair opposite. Not a request. And obeyed, perching on the edge, her knee inches from Diana's. Tell me about the campaign. Why this angle? Diana leaned back, arms folding across her chest, eyes locked on Anne's. It felt like an interview, an interrogation, a seduction all at once. And launched into her pitch, words tumbling out, her passion for storytelling bleeding through. Diana listened, nodding, her expression unreadable save for the occasional tilt of her head, like she was memorizing every inflection. Halfway through, Diana interrupted softly. You're good. Raw. But good. Most people here play it safe. You don't. A pause, her gaze dropping to Anne's hands. Then back up. What drives that? Anne's throat tightened. Honesty or deflection? I guess. I believe stories connect us. Make the lonely feel seen. The words hung there. Vulnerable. And Diana's eyes softened. Just a fraction. A sigh escaped her. Barely audible. As if the admission touched something buried. Seen, Diana echoed. Her voice quieter. She uncrossed her legs. Her foot brushing Anne's calf accidentally. Or not. Electricity shot up Anne's leg. And she froze. Breath shallow. Diana didn't pull away immediately. Her gaze holding steady. A question unspoken. The moment shattered with a knock. Mike poked his head in. Oblivious. Conference call in 5. Diana nodded. The spell breaking. But as Anne stood. Diana's hand grazed her wrist. We'll finish this later. Dinner? My treat. I want to hear more. Anne's world tilted. Dinner. With her. I'd like that, she managed. Voice steady despite the tremor in her chest. The rest of the day blurred. Anne's focus splintering. She texted her best friend. Lena. From the subway, new boss asked me to dinner. Help. Lena's reply buzzed back, is she hot? Say yes. And laughed. A shaky sound swallowed by the train's rumble. Hot didn't cover it. Diana was a revelation. A risk Anne hadn't known she craved. Evening fell soft over Manhattan. The city lights winking like conspirators. They met at a bistro in Soho. Tucked away from the tourist crush. Brick walls glowing under Edison bulbs. Diana arrived first. Already nursing a glass of red. Her blazer shed to reveal a silk blouse that clung just right. And slid into the booth. Nerves jangling like loose change. You clean up nice, Diana said. Her smile genuine. Eyes tracing in simple black dress. Nervous? A little. And admitted. Ordering a gin and tonic to steady her hands. The conversation flowed easy at first. Shop talk giving way to personal threads. Diana spoke of LA's relentless sun. The deals that built her career. The divorce 2 years back that left her questioning everything. Men, she said with a wry twist of her lips. They complicate without the payoff. And sipped her drink. The gin blooming warm in her belly. I've had my share of complications. Women. Mostly. They get under your skin in ways you can't shake. Her voice dropped. Testing waters. Diana's gaze sharpened. A spark igniting. Under your skin. I like that. She leaned forward. Elbow on the table. The space between them shrinking. The waiter brought appetizers. But neither reached for them. Instead, Diana's story turned to a late-night drive along the Pacific. Stars smeared across the sky. The isolation that crept in despite the glamour. And listened? Her own confessions spilling out, the foster homes that shaped her guarded heart. The art school dreams traded for stability. The quiet ache of loving in a world that demanded proof. A sigh slipped from Diana. Her fingers drumming the stem of her glass. You make me want to remember what it feels like to chase something real. Her words landed heavy. And Anne's pulse quickened. The air thickening with possibility. They lingered over dessert. Tiramisu shared from one spoon. Laughter punctuating the pauses. Outside. The night air nipped at their skin as they walked toward Diana's hotel. The streets alive with cabs and chatter. At the revolving doors. Diana turned. Her hand finding Anne's arm. Come up. Just for a nightcap. Anne's breath hitched. Desire coiling tight. She nodded. Words failing. The suite was all sleek lines and city views. Floor-to-ceiling windows framing the glittering sprawl. Diana poured scotch. Handing in a glass with fingers that lingered. They stood close. The scotch burning a path down Anne's throat. Mirroring the fire building low in her gut. Tell me what you want, Diana murmured. Her voice a velvet rasp. Eyes dark with intent. You, and whispered. The admission freeing something wild. Diana closed the distance. Her lips brushing Anne's in a kiss that started soft. Exploratory. Then deepened with hunger. Hands roamed. Blouses shed in a trail to the bed. Skin meeting skin in gasps and sighs. Diana's touch was sure. Reverent. Drawing moans from Anne that echoed off the walls. They moved together. Bodies sinking in a rhythm born of pent-up longing. The world narrowing to the press of thighs. The taste of salt and need. Afterward. Tangled in sheets. And traced patterns on Diana's shoulder. Her heart a steady drum. Diana pulled her closer. A contented hum vibrating through them. This wasn't planned, Diana said softly, her breath warm against Anne's hair. But it feels right. Anne replied, the words a vow in the quiet. Dawn crept in, painting the room gold. And with it came the first cracks. Diana's phone buzzed on the nightstand. A reminder of the board meeting at 8. She slipped from bed, dressing with quiet efficiency, while Anne watched, a pang twisting her chest. Last night was. Diana trailed off, buttoning her shirt, her eyes avoiding Anne's. Incredible, and finished. Sitting up, the sheet pulling at her waist. Vulnerability clawed at her. Wasn't it? Diana paused, her hand on the doorknob, expression shuddered. It was. But I'm your boss. And this complicates things. A sigh? Heavy and resigned. We can't. The door clicked shut behind her, leaving Anne alone with the echo of rejection. She dressed slowly, the city waking below, indifferent to the ache blooming in her chest. Obsession had taken root that night, desire a vine twisting through her veins. But reality was a cold dawn. Back in Brooklyn, the subway ride home blurred into a haze of what-ifs. Anne's apartment felt smaller, the walls pressing in with memories she hadn't made yet. She showered, the hot water doing little to wash away the scent of Diana on her skin. Work loomed Monday. Unavoidable. The office a minefield of stolen glances and unspoken rules. Lena called that afternoon, her voice a lifeline. Spill. Was it worth the swoon? And recounted it all, voice cracking on the goodbye. Lena listened, then sighed. Bosses are trouble, babe. But if she's worth it, fight for it. Quietly. And hung up, staring at her reflection in the fogged mirror. Fight. The word settled uneasy, but beneath it stirred resolve. She wasn't one to fade quietly. Monday arrived with gray skies threatening rain. The office humming with post-weekend energy. And arrived early, burying herself in emails. But her eyes betrayed her, flicking to the corner office. Empty. Diana was in meetings all morning, her absence a relief and a torment. By lunch, Anne was in the break room, stirring creamer into coffee she didn't want, when footsteps approached. Anne. Diana's voice, low and controlled. And turned, coffee sloshing again, her heart leaping. Diana looked impeccable, hair pinned back, but shadows lingered under her eyes. Ms. Hargrove. And kept it formal, though her voice wavered. Diana glanced around, the room empty save for the hum of the fridge. About Friday. I was abrupt. This job. The expectations. They're crushing. She stepped closer, voice dropping. But I haven't stopped thinking about you. Anne's breath caught, hope flickering. Me neither. Every minute. A pause. Charged. Diana's hand twitching as if to reach out. Meet me tonight. My place in the village. No expectations. Just us. And nodded. The risk thrilling. I'll be there. The village that evening was a tapestry of brownstones and bodegas. Autumn leaves skittering underfoot. Diana's walk-up smelled of sage and old books. A stark contrast to the sterile hotel suite. They cooked pasta together. Wine loosening tongues. Laughter filling the spaces between. Conversation meandered from favorite films to childhood scars. Diana admitting the divorce had left her walled off. Afraid of the vulnerability women stirred in her. You're not walled off with me, Anne said, twirling noodles on her fork, her foot nudging Diana's under the table. Diana's smile was soft. Genuine. No. You're different. You see through the armor. She reached across, fingers lacing with Anne's, the touch grounding. They cleared dishes side by side, hips brushing in the cramped kitchen, sparks igniting anew. On the couch, with jazz murmuring from a record player, kisses turned heated, hands exploring with familiar hunger. But this time, it was slower, deeper, Diana's sighs mingling with Anne's whispers of want. They made love by firelight, bodies arching in sync, the connection more than physical, a bridging of souls adrift. Lying spent, Diana's head on Anne's chest, she murmured, I want this. Us. But the office. We have to be careful. And stroked her hair, the weight of secrecy settling like a shadow. But for now, it was enough. Weeks blurred into a secret rhythm. Stolen lunches in hidden cafes. Late nights at Diana's where work talk dissolved into tangled limbs. Anne's campaigns sharpened under Diana's guidance. Her confidence blooming. But the obsession deepened. A double-edged blade. Jealousy flickered when Diana mentioned investors. Dinners and couldn't attend. Doubt whispered in quiet moments, was this real? Or just a boss's whim? One Thursday. The team celebrated a big win at a rooftop bar in Midtown. Skyline aglow under string lights. And nursed a beer? Watching Diana across the crowd. Charming clients with effortless grace. Their eyes met. A promise in the glance. But when Diana excused herself to take a call. And followed. Slipping into the shadowed stairwell. Everything okay? And asked. Voice low. Diana turned. Phone pocketed. Her face drawn. It's nothing. Just. Pressure mounting. The board's pushing for cuts. She pulled him close. Kissing her fiercely. As if to banish the stress. But in tasted desperation. The kiss edged with something frantic. Back at the party. And caught whispers, rumors of layoffs. Diana's bold strategies under fire. The night soured. And when Diana drove her home. Silence stretched taut. We'll figure it out, Diana said at Anne's door. But her eyes held storm clouds. Friday brought the hammer. An all-hands email, restructuring imminent. Anne's stomach knotted during the meeting. Diana at the front. Voice steady as she outlined changes. Some roles will evolve, she said. Gaze skipping Anne's. Evolve. Code for gone. After. In Diana's office. And confronted her. Is my job safe? Her voice cracked. Fear raw. Diana's composure fractured. A sigh escaping as she rounded the desk. I fought for you. But the numbers. She cupped Anne's face. Thumbs brushing tears and hadn't realized fell. This isn't just about work anymore. I can't lose you. The admission hung. Pulling them into an embrace that turned urgent. Lips crashing on the locked door. Desk papers scattered as they yielded. Desire a fierce rebuttal to the chaos. But climax brought clarity. And pulling back. Breathless. We can't hide forever. This secrecy. It's eating us. Diana nodded. Forehead to Anne's. You're right. I need to make changes. Starting with us. The weekend was a whirlwind escape to the Hamptons. Diana's impulsive idea. A borrowed beach house under slate skies. They drove with windows down. Wind whipping hair. Radio crooning indie folk. The house creaked with history. Waves crashing like applause. They walked the shore at dusk. Hands linked. Salt air cleansing old wounds. Around a driftwood fire. Diana opened up fully. Voice trembling over marshmallows. I built walls after my ex. Thought control was safety. You make me want to burn them down. And listened? Sharing her own fears of abandonment. The foster kids' perpetual wait for the door to slam. They made love on a blanket under stars. Slow and sacred. Bodies whispering affirmations. Dawn found them tangled. The ocean's rhythm matching their breaths. But reality intruded with a call, board emergency. Diana's face hardened. The mask slipping back. Back in the city Sunday night. Tension simmered. Monday's meeting confirmed it, cuts announced. Anne's role spared but reshuffled under a new lead. Relief warred with resentment. The near loss a scar. At Diana's that evening. Words erupted. You protected your image. Not me, and accused. Voice rising. Pacing the living room. Diana stood. Eyes flashing. I protected us. One wrong move. And it's over. A pause. Her shoulders slumping. But I hate this. The hiding. The power imbalance. And stopped. Chest heaving. Then end it. Or fight for real. The challenge hung. Diana crossing the room. Pulling it into a kiss that tasted of salt and surrender. I choose you. All in. Tuesday brought resolve. Diana scheduled a discreet HR consult. Navigating policies with calculated grace. Meanwhile. Anne poured her fire into a rogue pitch, a bold rebrand tying into personal stories of resilience. Veiled nods to their own. Diana greenlit it. Their collaboration electric in late-night sessions. Touches lingering under desks. But the board pushed back hard. Diana's position precarious. Whispers turned to outright challenges. A rival exec gunning for her seat. Stress-etched lines on Diana's face. Nights where she tossed. And holding her through sighs and what-ifs. The breaking point came mid-month. A gala fundraiser in the meatpacking district. Black ties and champagne flutes. Diana shone. Networking with poise. But Anne, invited as +1 under colleague pretense, watched from the edges. Ache building. When Diana danced with a donor, hand on waist, jealousy surged. Irrational and hot. Outside. In the alley's chill. And waited. Tears stinging. Diana emerged. Coat in hand. What's wrong? You, and spat. Voice breaking. Parading like I'm invisible. I can't do this halfway. Diana's face crumpled. Stepping close. I'm sorry. God. I'm sorry. She pulled Anne into shadows. Kissing away the hurt. But Anne pushed back gently. No. Words now. Or we're done. A long breath from Diana. The city noise fading. I love you. The words tumbled out. Raw and unpracticed. I've been terrified. Of losing the job. The respect. But most of all. You. I want mornings with you. Not stolen nights. A life. Anne's heart stuttered. The confession a bomb. I love you too. They clung there. Foreheads pressed. The alley a confessional. The next days were a blur of strategy. Diana rallied allies. Pitching Anne's campaign as a Hail Mary. Tying it to diversity narratives that spotlighted unspoken stories. The board wavered. Then conceded. The win bittersweet with concessions, Diana stepping back from direct oversight of Anne's team. In the aftermath. They emerged tentative. Real. No more corners or codes. Dinners public. Hands held in cafes. The office adjusting to their quiet truth. Anne's obsession mellowed into something steady. Desire tempered by trust. Months later. Spring thawed New York. Cherry blossoms dusting parks. They walked Central Park. Fingers intertwined. A picnic basket swinging. Diana paused by the lake. Turning to Anne with a small box. Not a proposal. Not yet. But a promise. Inside. A key. Simple silver. To a new apartment. Shared. In the village. Anne's eyes welled. Pulling Diana close. Yes. As ducks quacked approval. And realized the obsession had transformed. Desire no longer a takeover but a foundation. They were women. Flawed and fierce. Building from ruins. The city stretched endless. But in each other's gaze. Home. And in quiet moments. When doubt whispered. They'd sigh together. Hold tighter. Remembering, love wasn't possession. But the grace to let it breathe. The key turned smooth in the lock of their new place. The door swinging open to boxes stacked like hopeful monuments. And stepped inside first. The scent of fresh paint and possibility wrapping around her. Diana followed. Arms laden with takeout bags. Kicking the door shut with her heel. Home, Diana said. The word tentative. Testing its weight. And turned. Pulling her into a kiss that tasted of Thai basil and relief. Our home. The apartment was modest. High ceilings and creaky floors in a pre-war building. Sunlight slanting through tall windows onto hardwood that gleamed with promise. They ate cross-legged on the floor. Surrounded by unpacked chaos. Laughter bubbling over spilled sauce. That night. They christened the space slowly. Exploring each other anew on a mattress borrowed from Lena. Diana's hands mapped Anne's curves with reverence. Her whispers a litany of gratitudes. For seeing me. For staying. And arched into the touch. Her sighs mingling with Diana's. The city hummed a distant lullaby. Afterward. Curled together. And traced the faint scar on Diana's collarbone. A remnant of a childhood fall. Tell me about this one. Diana's voice was soft in the dark. Clumsy kid. Chasing fireflies in my grandma's backyard in Pasadena. Tripped over a root. Landed wrong. A chuckle. Low. She patched me up. Said scars are stories we carry. And kissed it lightly. The gesture sealing another layer of them. Work settled into a new normal. The office a neutral ground where professional nods masked private smiles. And thrived under the new lead. Her ideas flowing freer without the shadow of hierarchy. Diana. Battle-scarred but unbroken. Mentored from afar. Their emails laced with inside jokes and coded affections. But peace had its undercurrents. late one evening, and lingered at her desk, finalizing a report, when Diana texted, "Bored dinner. Late. Miss you already," and replied with a heart. But envy nipped. Unbidden. The power Diana wielded. The room she entered that and could only imagine, it stirred old insecurities. The foster kid's fear of being sidelined. She pushed it down. Heading home to light candles and pour wine. Diana arrived past midnight. Hair windswept. Tie loosened. "Tough crowd," she muttered, collapsing onto the couch. And massaged her shoulders. Thumbs working knots. Drawing a groan of appreciation. "Want to talk?" and asked. Voice gentle. Diana leaned back. Eyes closing. "Just hold me." They shifted to the bedroom. Undressing in quiet ritual. Bodies fitting like puzzle pieces. Lovemaking was tender that night. Diana's usual command yielding to vulnerability. Her gasps edged with exhaustion. As they lay spent, Diana confessed fragments, the rival exec's sabotage. Whispers of her distraction within fueling doubts. "You're not a distraction," and murmured fiercely, propping on an elbow. "You're my clarity." Diana's eyes shimmered, pulling in down for a kiss that reaffirmed. Spring deepened. Their rhythm syncing with the city's pulse. Weekends meant brunches in the West Village. Mimosas and people watching. Hands brushing under tables. One Saturday, they joined a Pride March remnant. Rainbow flags fluttering. The crowd a sea of stories like theirs. Diana, usually reserved in public, linked arms with and, her stride bold. "This," she said over chance, "feels like freedom," and squeezed her hand, chest swelling. But freedom carried costs. Diana's ex-husband surfaced via email. A custody query for their shared dog from the divorce. Wait. Dog? And learned of Max. The golden retriever left in LA. Over coffee the next morning. "You never mentioned," and said. Stirring sugar absently. Hurt flickering. Diana sighed. Setting her mug down. It was part of the old life. Buried. She explained the amicable split. The dog a neutral ground in papers. But the call to arrange a visit stirred ghosts. Diana's voice tightening on speakerphone. And listen from the kitchen. Unease coiling. That night, as they walked Max in a borrowed park, Diana flying him east for the weekend, the dog's exuberance highlighted the gap. "He misses you," and observed. Watching Diana toss a frisbee. Joy lighting her face. Diana caught the disc. Turning. "I miss pieces of that life. Stability. Maybe. But not enough to go back." She pulled him close. Max weaving between legs. "This is forward." Still. The visit unearthed more, photos on Diana's phone. A younger her with the ex. Laughing at beach bonfires. And scrolled innocently one afternoon. Jealousy flaring at the ease in those frames. "Were you happy?" she asked later. Voice small. Diana paused mid-chop for salad. Knife stilling. "Happy enough. But not whole." She set it down. Crossing to and. "You make me whole." The words soothed. But doubt lingered. A quiet erosion. Summer crept and humid. Their balcony a haven of potted herbs and string lights. Anne's promotion came through. Junior manager now. Her pitch evolving into a company pillar. Celebration dinner at a rooftop in Chelsea. Diana toasting with sparkling water. "Wait. Water?" And raised a brow. "Testing the waters," Diana said. Clinking glasses. "Waters for what?" A secretive smile. "Patience. And let it go." Savoring the view. Diana's arm around her waist. But patience frayed when Diana cancelled plans twice for work crises, only for and to spot social media glimpses. Diana at industry mixers. Arm linked with a sharp-suited consultant. Elena something or other. Paranoia bloomed. Fed by late nights alone. Confrontation brewed over a rainy Tuesday dinner. Takeout cooling on the table. "Who's Elena?" and asked. Tone sharper than intended. Diana's fork paused. "Colleague. Networking." Her eyes searched Anne's. "Why?" "The photos. You looked. Close." Anne's voice trembled. Vulnerability cracking through. Diana sighed. Long and weary. Pushing her plate away. "It's business. But I see how it lands." She reached for Anne's hand. "Trust me. Or tell me how to earn it better." Tears pricked Anne's eyes. Just be here. Fully. They talked deep into the night. Unpacking fears. Diana admitting the pressure to perform. To prove her phase with and wasn't a liability. I'm all in, she vowed. Sealing it with a kiss that rebuilt bridges. The storm passed. But summer's heat mirrored inner fires. They escaped to Fire Island for a long weekend. Ferries cutting through waves. The beach a queer haven of cabins and bonfires. No suits. Just swimsuits and sunscreen. Diana's laughter free as she splashed in the surf. Nights in a rented bungalow. Screened porch alive with cicadas. Their lovemaking urgent against the elements. One evening. Fire crackling. Diana knelt with a small velvet box. Not rushing. But envisioning. Inside. 2 rings. Simple gold bands etched with intertwined vines. When you're ready. Anne's breath hitched. Slipping one on. Soon. They made love under the stars. Bodies slick with sweat and sea salt. The promise a tether. Fall returned crisp. Leaves carpeting streets. Diana's bored battle peaked. A pivotal vote. She paced nights. And brewing tea. Offering quiet strength. The win came narrow. Diana emerging leaner. Wiser. Her role solidified but transformed, more advisory. Less frontline. In the glow. They hosted their first dinner party. Friends mingling in the apartment now fully theirs, art on walls. Bookshelves groaning. Lena cornered Anne in the kitchen. She's good for you. Changed you. And glanced at Diana. Laughing with guests. We changed each other. As winter loomed. Snow dusting rooftops. And felt the obsession's evolution complete. Desire had ignited. But love sustained. A quiet force weathering storms. One snowy morning. Bundled in scarves. They skated at Bryant Park. Hands clasped. Falls turning to giggles. This, Diana said. Spinning and under flurries. Is the life I chased. And pulled her close. Kiss warm against cold lips. Ours. And in the hush of falling snow. They glided on. 2 women woven from chance and choice. Leaving echoes of grace in every step. Winter wrapped New York in a crystalline hush. The city transformed into a postcard of twinkling lights and bundled figures hurrying home. And in Diana's apartment became a sanctuary. Radiator hissing softly against the chill. Windows fogged with breath. Mornings started slow. Coffee brewing as they lingered in bed. Limbs entangled. The world outside a muffled dream. Diana's advisory role freed pockets of time. And she filled them with small rebellions, cooking classes in Hell's Kitchen. Where flour dusted their hair and laughter echoed over rolling pins. You're terrible at this, and teased one evening. Dough crumbling under Diana's hands. Diana flicked flour at her. Blue eyes dancing. Perfectionist. Remember? But with you? I like the mess. Their kiss tasted of vanilla and victory. The class a backdrop to stolen touches. Anne's managerial duties deepened. Her team a mix of eager juniors and jaded vets. Campaigns launching with buzz that rippled through social feeds. Success brought invitations, panels, podcasts. Anne's face pixelated on screens. Diana attended one. Front row. Her pride a quiet glow amid the applause. But acclaim carried undercurrents. A reporter probed during Q&A, how do you balance personal life with the grind? And faltered. Glancing at Diana. Love helps. It grounds you. The answer drew cheers. But backstage. Diana pulled her into a hug. Proud doesn't cover it. Still. Fractures lingered from summer's doubts. Diana's phone buzzed more with Elena's name, consulting overlaps. Innocent but insistent. And trusted. Mostly. But old scars itched. One night. Over mulled wine by the tree they decorated. And voiced it. She's persistent. Diana set her mug down. Expression open. I told her I'm taken. Firmly. A pause. Her hand finding Anne's. But if it bothers you. I'll cut ties. The concession eased and. Their evening dissolving into slow dances in the living room. Nat King Cole crooning from the speaker. New Year's Eve found them at a queer speakeasy in the Lower East Side. Velvet curtains and jazz pulsing low. Confetti rained as midnight struck. Diana's kiss a vow amid cheers. To us, she whispered. Forehead to Anne's. Always. January thawed into Valentine's. Their first shared. Diana planned a surprise, a weekend in Boston. Train tickets tucked in a card with a handwritten note. For the stories we haven't written yet. The ride north was cozy. Hands linked over hot cocoa. Landscapes blurring white to gray. Boston charmed with cobblestones and history. Their hotel a boutique overlooking the harbor. They wandered Freedom Trail by day. And snapping photos? Diana narrating trivia with mock gravity. Evenings in dim taverns. Oysters and whispers. The city a romantic echo. One night. Post-dinner stroll along the Charles River. Ice skaters gliding under lights. Diana stopped. Breath clouding. Marry me. Not a question. But an offering. Her eyes earnest in the glow. Anne's heart soared. Tears freezing on lashes. Yes. They kissed there. River winds whipping. The yes a bridge to forever. Spring bloomed tentative. Their engagement a private spark. Rings swapped in a quiet ceremony at City Hall. Witnesses Lena and a colleague. No fanfare. Just vows exchanged in a sunlit room. I choose you. Every dawn. Rings simple. Vines etched deeper now. Words spread subtle. Office toasts discreet. But ripples hit when Diana's family learned, her mother, a Pasadena professor, emailing measured congratulations laced with questions. Are you sure? So soon after. The divorce shadow loomed. Diana read it aloud over breakfast. Voice steady but edged. She means well. Old school. And squeezed her hand. Call her. Sheriff. The conversation stretched long. Diana pacing the balcony. Words halting then flowing. Laughter broke through eventually. Her mother's voice warming. Bring her west. Show me. Summer plans solidified, a road trip to California. Bridging coasts. They packed the car with snacks and playlists. Max in the back. Tongue lolling. The drive east to west was epic. Detours through national parks. Campfires under endless skies. Yosemite's granite faces mirrored their resolve. Hikes leaving them breathless. Hands dusty from trails. At Glacier Point. Sunset painting cliffs gold. Diana pulled in close. This view. It's us, vast. Unyielding. And leaned in. Max at their feet. And beautiful. LA welcomed with heat haze. Diana's old neighborhood a time capsule of palm trees and bungalows. Her mother's home was craftsman charm. Garden bursting bougainvillea. Over dinner. Ellen Hargrove appraised and with sharp eyes. Then softened. You make her light up. That's enough. The visit mended threads. Stories exchanged late into nights. Max curled by the hearth. As they drove north to wine country. Diana sighed content. Healing. This. Napa's vineyards rolled golden. Tastings turning tipsy. Laughter echoing in barrel rooms. One evening. Picnic on a hillside. Grapes staining lips. Diana proposed a toast. To roots and wings. Their kiss deepened. Rolling down the blanket. Lovemaking lazy under vines. Earth warm beneath. Fall brought wedding whispers. Small gathering planned for the Hamptons beach house. Invites hand calligraphed. Menu farm to table. Anne's nerves fluttered fittings. White sundress simple. Lace whispering against skin. The day dawned clear. Waves lapping gentle. Guests sparse, Lena officiating with humor. Colleagues toasting futures. Vows heartfelt, Diana's voice breaking on my anchor and steady my horizon. Rings exchanged. Kiss sealing under arches of wildflowers. Honeymoon in Provincetown. Cape Cod's queer enclave. Bike rides along dunes. Lobster rolls on piers. Nights in a lighthouse inn. Bed creaking with passion. Diana's touch is worshipful. Mrs. Hargrove withers, she teased. Tracing Anne's new hyphen. And laughed. Pulling her closer. Forever sounds good. Back in the city. Married life wove seamless. Anne's career ascended. Speaking gigs piling. Her book pitch on authentic branding gaining traction. Diana consulted independently. Flexible hours for morning runs in the park. Max bounding ahead. But life layered complexities. Anne's period late 1 month. Panic spiking, adoption dreams surfacing. Or surrogacy talks. Tests negative. Relief mixed with ache. When we're ready, Diana soothed. Holding her through tears. Holiday season glittered. Their tree adorned with ornaments from travels, Yosemite pinecone. Napa cork. Family swelled. Ellen visiting with stories. And scattered foster siblings connecting tentative. New Year's again. Same speakeasy. Confetti falling on entwined hands. To chapters, Diana murmured. And smiled? Heart full. Hours unfolding. Winter deepened. Snow blanketing Central Park. One evening. Skating again. And faltered. Diana catching her. Steady, she whispered. Always, and replied. There glide a dance of endurance. In quiet. When obsessions faded to embers. Desire to steady flame. They remembered, love was the human art of showing up. Scars and all. Leaving the world a touch softer. Years folded like well-worn pages. Time a gentle thief stealing breaths but gifting depths. And Diana's life in New York matured. The apartment traded for a Brooklyn brownstone. Backyard oasis for Max's twilight romps. Morning's ritual, coffee shared on the stoop. Newspapers rustling. City awakening. Anne's book launched to acclaim. Stories that stick. Shelves in indie shops. Tours weaving through coasts. Diana managed her consultancy from a home office. Video calls crisp. But evenings hers, dinners experimental. Wine pairings debated. Their intimacy evolved. No longer wildfire but hearth glow. Touches lingering over morning light. Sighs drawn long in the hush of midnight. Anniversaries marked quiet, first with a recreating of that Soho bistro. Second a hot air balloon over the Hudson. Basket swaying with champagne toasts. Challenges came soft now. Weathered better. And speaking anxiety resurfaced before a TED Talk. Stage fright clawing. Diana rehearsed with her in the living room. Lines memorized between kisses. You've got this, Diana affirmed. Eyes locked. The stage conquered. Applause thundering. And dedicated it silently to the woman who steadied her. Diana's consultancy hit snags. A client balking on fees. Stress etching brows. And countered with escapes, weekend in the Catskills. Cabin wood smoke and stargazing. Hands clasped over esmores. We're a team, and reminded. Drawing Diana earthward. Bodies reaffirming unity. Family wove tighter. Ellen became regular. Thanksgiving feasts her domain. Turkey carved with anecdotes. Anne's brother. Estranged foster kin. Reconnected over emails. A visit plan tentative. Max aged graceful. Gray muzzle. But walks slowed. His loyalty a constant. Parenthood beckoned insistent. Consults with agencies. Profiles polished. Hearts open. Waits stretched months. Then a call, a sibling set. 3 and 5. Needing home. Paperwork swirled. Home studies passed. The brownstone baby proved hasty. Placement day dawned nerve-frayed. Social worker at door with Mia and Luca. Wide eyes scanning. Diana knelt. Voice soft. Welcome. Anne's arms enveloped. Tears silent. Chaos bloomed, bedtime stories improvised. Spills mopped with laughter. Nights fragmented. Sleep stolen by cries. But joys multiplied, Mia's first steps unaided toward Anne. Luca's drawings papering fridge. Diana excelled dad mode. Braids practiced clumsy. Soccer games cheered loud. Look at us, she marveled one dawn. Coffee in hand. Kids slumbering. And nodded. Exhaustion sweetened. Family. Parenting's forge tempered them. Date nights squeezed, babysitters trusted. Theaters dim for indie films. Hands squeezing in dark. Intimacy adapted. Stolen showers steamy. Quiet mornings bodies aligning before dawn chorus. One spring. Mia's school play cast her as tree, proud parents front row. Cameras clicking. Luca's questions pierced, why two moms? Diana fielded gentle. Love makes family. Shapes don't matter. And swelled? Pride fierce. Summer camp trials, Mia homesick. Calls tearful. Diana drove upstate impromptu. Hugs bridging miles. Missed you, Mia whispered. Back home. Debrief over ice cream. Resilience noted. Fall broadens book sequel. Deadlines gnawing. Diana shouldered more. Bedtime routine solo. Her patience a gift. Launch party intimate. Kids in costumes crashing. Cake smeared gleams. Winter holidays amplified, tree trimming wars. Ornaments debated. Lights tangled giggles. Hanukkah candles flickered, Ellen's tradition adopted, menorah beside creche. Faith's blended easy. New Year's. Kids abed early. They slipped to balcony. Fireworks blooming. To survival, Diana toasted. Arms circling. To thriving, encountered. Kiss lingering. A decade in. Reflections surfaced. Over anniversary dinner. Candles guttering. Diana mused. That elevator glance. Changed everything. And smiled. Fork pausing. Obsession to foundation. Their hands linked. Rings glinting. Stories etched in lines around eyes. Challenges lingered subtle, empty nest whispers as kids grew. Mia's teen sass testing. Luca's sports injuries bandaged tearful. Diana's consultancy pivoted to mentoring. Passion reignited. And keynote globally. Jet lag bridged by video calls. I love you, pixels. Intimacy deepened. Vulnerabilities shared raw, Diana's fear of obsolescence. Anne's imposter echoes. Counseling sessions gentle. Tools for tending. One autumn. Max passed quiet. Head in Diana's lap. Sunset gilding fur. Burial and backyard plot. Kids' drawings tucked soil. Grief shared. Walks now with neighborhood dog adopted hasty. Tails wagging continuity. Empty-ish nest loomed. Mia college bound east. Luca west. Send-offs tear-streaked. Dorms unpacked hugs. House echoed first. Then filled with calls. Visits raucous. Travel beckoned free, Italy's Amalfi. Cliffs terraced. Lemons bright. Hands in pasta-making classes. Nights gelato stolen kisses. Still desire you, Diana whispered. Terrace overlooking sea. And pulled closer. Always takes over. Back stateside. Legacy stirred. And founded workshop for young creatives. Queer voices amplified. Diana endowed scholarships. Her story guest spoke. Kids proud. Mia's film major nodding. Luca's engineering laced ethics. Golden years crept. Hair silvering shared. Brownstone creaks familiar. Morning's porch swinged. Coffee ritual unbroken. Grandkids someday promised. One eve. Park bench under leaves turning. Diana leaned head on and shoulder. Worth every sigh. And kiss temple. Every breath. In twilight's hush. Their story lingered. A testament, love. Begun an elevator spark. Endured as quiet revolution. Leaving world echoes of human grace. Connections unbreakable.